Good evening and welcome to The Conversation. I'm your host, Robin Vernon. Are we failing our Belizean athletes? That is our topic for tonight. I know that I am not alone when I dream that one day I will see Belizean athletes standing on the podium of the Olympics or be able to cheer on many more Belizean athletes competing in international tournaments. Whether we are talking about basketball, football, volleyball, cycling, canoeing, or track and field, you can find a raw talent in Belize, but much is lacking for us to produce professional athletes. Why are we still stuck? What can we all do? Tonight, we will try to find some answers in our discussion. I'm starting off the conversation with one of our best basketball players who has had the opportunity to play college ball in the US and professionally in Europe. Devin Daley attended Lake Superior State University in Michigan from 2012 to 2016 on a full athletic scholarship. His team won 2 conference championships at the Ncaa Division II level. After graduation, Devin went on to play professionally in Denmark for 2 years with Team Fog Næstved. How do you say that? Næstved? With Team Fog Næstved. And his team won the Danish Cup and made it to the playoffs both years. He also played a couple months in Bolivia before returning to Belize. Devin has played 3 seasons in Belize and his team has won 2 out of those 3. Welcome to the conversation, Devin.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. How did you get a scholarship to play college ball in the US?
All right. Back in 2012, there's this guy, Coach Tar. He lives in Kamalote, I believe, right now. He's an American guy, moved to Belize from, I think, back and forth since the 90s. And he came up with an idea for Belize to have a AAU team. AAU tournaments is a big thing in the States, whereby teams from all different, states compete in like one tournament in one location.
Okay.
And it's a way whereby college coaches from all over the country come by and scout athletes. And so Belize actually participated in that for the first time in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has it continued since? Or?
I think we've had probably about 4 trips since, but I was the first athlete to get, an opportunity off of that venture.
Nice.
Yeah.
And with the scholarship, did you need additional financing or did the scholarship cover everything?
Cover everything.
Wow.
But my mom and my family assisted me, for personal stuff throughout my 4 years. So I was grateful for that.
All right. And what was it like playing in the NCAA Division II?
Man, it was tough. I believe in the States, a lot of people look at basketball at the collegiate level, Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, but a lot of people believe that if you're not playing Division I, at much bigger universities, you're not necessarily making it. But there's a really big amount of talented players at the Division II level, so yeah, it's tough.
You're saying it's tough. Would you be able to shed some light on what the hardest part of the experience was?
I think the hardest part of the experience was probably them reshaping who I am as a person and as a player. In that, I mean, leaving from Belize, probably being one of the best players at the time in 2012. When I got there thinking, all right, well, I'm it. And then basically telling me, no, you're not it. You're far from it. But we can help you be it,
So it was like the reality check coming from here
Big
and
time.
then being placed over there and then seeing like the performance expectation, like the standard there.
Yeah, big time. So I was like, many times I wanted to quit, I was discouraged.
I could imagine.
Yeah, being far away from home. And so, yeah, it was very tough.
So it was like the homesickness, the tough dynamic of the coaches abroad.
Yeah, and them not necessarily caring, At the time, it felt like they didn't care, how you felt. But all of that was kind of like the psychological transformation of what they wanted you to experience.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you're clearly doing this for like a sport, but this was kind of like that military
Oh, yes.
dynamic where They'd be basically drill sergeants.
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
The 5 a.m. workouts, the study sessions with the team, maintaining a GPA, stuff like that. All the unseen stuff and the intangibles that they worked on, definitely, drove that nail home.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it like playing in Denmark?
Man, playing sports at the amateur level or at the college level is a complete different thing than playing it for money, as a job. At that point, it's, basketball, it's love and everything, but it's a business,
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to be in a better position the following year depending on how your team does and how you do personally. While, in regards to the college kind of vibe, it was more, all for team, all for everything, kind of thing. You're kind of set for that 4 years.
Yeah.
But every game you played professionally, was kind of contributing to where you would be next year.
Yeah, so it was like taking that step from collegiate where it was like, I'm not gonna diminish it and say like it wasn't serious or anything like that, but moving into the Denmark realm, it's like you said, like it became work.
Right.
Like it was, in essence, kind of like a career path, right?
Definitely. And that was evident, I mean, you had your agent who checked in after every game, hey, I saw you had 12 points tonight. I saw you had 3 boards tonight. Let's try to get that up to 18 points. Let's try to get 5 boards next time. And that was a continuous thing,
So it really changes even like the mindset, because back then it was just, I did great, I feel good, everything's up, GPA's up, performance is up and everything, but they're like, it's kind of like when you said you thought you were it here until you went there, and then you went from the collegiate to Denmark, and then now they're like, well, you did good, but you can do better.
For sure.
Okay.
I mean, go ahead.
And with that, like with all of that, what made you move back to Belize?
Whew, honestly, the whole timeline of me getting a scholarship to leave Belize happened pretty fast. I was 16, and so when I left Belize, I did that for 4 years in Michigan. I used to come back home about 2 weeks every year, and then I had to go right back to do summer school and summer training. And then right after that, I graduated, and then it was probably only about 3 months that I came back to Belize. Then I went to Denmark. It was an 8-hour time difference. And so eventually, like, it just kind of took a toll. It got tiring.
Okay.
Yeah.
It really, like, all of it just kept you away, didn't it?
Yeah. And I think that's a part of the journey that people don't really see, They only get to see a lot of times the results, maybe, the performances, but not necessarily what goes on
The real
behind
life
the scenes.
aspect behind it. And being here now, I'd imagine that despite the fact that you left, that like you came back and you were still an athlete. Like
Right.
you still had the same drive, the same pursuits and everything. How difficult is it as an athlete here compared to, let's talk compared to when it was collegiate and then Denmark?
Okay, well, I think in college I didn't necessarily have as much responsibility as I do in Denmark, and even now. In college you had your school paid for, your room and board paid for, and you just had to maintain a GPA, and you had to maintain on the court performances. Then when you went to Denmark, you had to make sure that you maintained your performance and also your personal self, because basically it's 5 hours a day of working out, and after that you're just kind of tucked away in your room, chilling, doing whatever you want to do in your free time. And then here, it's you don't make a full-time salary playing sports in Belize, so you have to have another job.
It's like a side job, right?
Yeah, it's a side job, and so that kind of takes away the focus a lot on your actual sport.
Because you're juggling more things at that point.
Correct.
You're talking personal life, you're talking the athletic life, and then you're talking income, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can see like that really takes hours out of the day. Because as an athlete, you're saying like what, 5 hours of just training?
Yeah,
on
5
a,
hours
on a
of
daily
just,
basis?
Yeah, on a daily basis. That's with the team. And then you also have your time where you can go in the gym and do your personal side stuff, which was necessary because, you know, there's never anything like too much work, you know.
I agree.
There's always things you can do without actually being very active, you know. You have trainers that could, you know, do therapy, those kind of stuff. That's all on you. You know what your body needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with what you've experienced thus far within the country with being an athlete here, with the different challenges, with the different difficulties, what would you like to see be done differently in Belize to accommodate those aspiring athletes?
Okay. Well, I think we could break that up into short-term and long-term goals. The long-term is that, you know, we'd like to see more investment being done for our youth. Maybe starting from 9 or 10, you know, whereby certain habits are not even established yet. And then you also have a crop of athletes who are already developed, and you would like to see them get paid full time. You know, maybe the average salary or something like that to start off with, so that they can make a living.
Yeah, and that way they can be dedicated to the craft, right?
Yeah. So something like that is what I would like to see. Now, whether or not we're budgeted for it, that's a totally different time and story.
That's $1 million question right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so off that, you would say that those are the two number one things that you would want to see be done here to be able to accommodate aspiring athletes?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think the local support is there. You know, people want to see sports at a level in Belize, but they also, you know that there's certain things in place that is inhibiting that.
I agree. I have a few friends in the sports realm here, and I try to talk to them. Like I'm not that avid a person within like this particular realm here in the country, but I am curious. I am open-minded to it. I talk to my friends about it, and I usually ask them these questions. I have friends who have kids who are hungry to be able to do more when it comes to triathlons and all that stuff. And one of them, like, they were able to go pretty far within what we're capable of providing as a country. And they did rather well, too, to be honest. But when they came back, and then I was talking to his parents, and they were telling me, like, he did great, but unfortunately, he ended up being outperformed to a certain level because, I mean, the athletes from these other places that came to compete, they have the resources, they have the equipment, they have trainers that really know what they're doing. I'm not saying that the ones here don't, but I mean, as with everything here or with most things here, it's like we have a cap, right? Whereas those places elsewhere, the coaches are able to provide more because they have more to work with. So that's expansive knowledge and all that, right? So I get it. I've heard it enough to know that there's more that we can definitely do, but it's if we can, right?
Yeah.
And for the athletes watching or aspiring athletes or anything like that, what do you have as great advice to be able to provide them to push them forward, propel them, have them to hold on to that desire and that want?
Yeah. I'd say there's very few things in life that you can cheat. And one of them is the work you put in when it comes to sports. And, you know, you really know who you are and what you're about when nobody's watching. And so what are you really doing when nobody's watching? Are you just maybe taking that selfie in the gym to say, you know, tapping in, posting it on IG? Or are you really investing, you know, your time in nutrition and your actual, you know, and in your actual craft? So I'd say don't cheat the work, you know, put in the time. The realities haven't changed in Belize when it comes to sports for quite a while. But, you know, I was once in your shoe, not thinking that it was possible. And when the opportunity came, I was ready on both ends. Education and also the willingness to work. Not necessarily the level, but just, you know, just prepare and your time will come.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Devin, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Keep up the awesome work. And you know what I mean? Like, and fingers crossed that
fingers
things
crossed.
can shape up for the better, right?
Yeah.
And we here, and pretty much all of Belize who knows of you or who don't, but could have learned more in just this short conversation, are very proud of you, man.
Appreciate it.
So, viewers, we will pause for a short commercial break. feel free to join the conversation by posting in the comment section on Facebook. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the conversation. Tonight, we're discussing sports in Belize and whether we are failing our athletes. I'm now joined by two distinguished gentlemen who are very passionate about sports development in Belize and, more importantly, about giving young Belizean athletes the opportunity to realize their full potential. Clinton Polo Lightburn is a living legend. He was a superstar basketball player in the 70s who led his team, the Happy Home Builders, to 3 consecutive championships in the Belize Basketball League. While there were several outstanding basketball players back in those days, most fans would agree that Polo was Belize's best player from that era. Polo has now turned his focus on the next generation of basketball superstars with his Future Shock program, where he is the director and coach. Great to have you, Polo.
Great to be here.
Also joining the conversation is Daniel Fabro, another die-hard sports advocate. He served as commissioner of Semi-Pro Basketball League in 94 and 95, and from 2000 to 2004. He was the owner and manager of Metro Stars and Juventus Semi-Pro football teams. From 2015 to present, Daniel is the country director for Rush Soccer, where he works with youth between the ages of 10 to 20 years old. Welcome, Daniel.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you both.
Thank you.
Polo, please tell us about the Future Shock program. How did that get started and what is the program all about?
Well, I was the first Belizean to get an athletic scholarship to play basketball. And when I went to school, I was told to do accounting, to do business, because at that time the thing was to come back and get a job in the bank. Like today, all the kids want to be a lawyer because of the perception of wealth and power and security. Back in those, it was to be an accountant to get a job at the bank. But could you imagine me being an accountant sitting over there with a bifocal counting somebody's money? That I don't mean. Thank God for orientation. And when I went into orientation, I said I wanted to get into sociology. I wanted to come back and work with kids, and I wanted to deal with psychology. And so I decided that was my route. So I went and I got into psychology, and I came back and I applied it not just to basketball, but to sports development. While I was in college, I read a book called Future Shock that was written in 1970. I read it in 1976. It was written by Alvin Toffler. And he was talking about the information age that we're in right now. And that everything was going to be moving so fast that we weren't going to be able to keep up with it. It's like an i5, i6, every 6 months a new phone come out. Even with the cars and stuff, and with the being on the internet, and you have all this information. It's what they call virtual reality. So a lot of people it's kind of like a Cinderella world. And I decided I was going to come back home and work with these kids and prepare them for the future. He actually wrote a bunch of books because he also wrote another book called the Third Wave. The first wave was the Neolithic period, when man created tools and start dealing with reading and writing and domestication. And then the other wave was the industrial age, and now here we're all in the information age. And the next wave is coming, is the fourth wave, and that's what I'm preparing these kids for, what they call the time beyond technology. People might think this is just basketball, but my team has an average grade of like 3.5. I've had like free 4.0 students. And like we have plays called like Infinity, interchange +2 -5. I keep them thinking. Okay, and the way I got, well, this is my third generation of Future Shop. The first generation was with my oldest son, who is like about 42 years old now, and the guys that was hanging around because it was, when I came home one night, there was bottles broken up in front of the house, and that was when the gangs first started. That was when the gang feud first started, and that was the first time I picked up on it. That the entire I never knew. All right, so I got these guys together, and thank God, I ended up getting most of them to go to work and to go to school, because I told them, I said, school prepares you for work, the discipline. And if you don't go to school, you won't know how to work.
So
And you're going to either have mental problems trying to cope with reality, or you're going to end up in jail because you're going to have to steal to survive.
So like you said, this program was not just about the sports.
No, it's not
This
basketball.
was
This is
about
only a
the
vehicle. This is
entire
only
development
this is only a
because
vehicle.
That's great.
This is only a vehicle for it. And but you find that most of the kids who don't get the opportunity, because not most of the kids who are not mentally started with a mental foundation, and because you have the mental. There's a discipline program, there's schools for the mental discipline, there's the churches for spiritual discipline. But that's why we're here tonight, because we don't have programs for the athletic discipline, and sport is a discipline. That was the first thing I learned when I went to school. Sport is a discipline. And we don't put the energy, and I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about the physical energy from the athletes, but also the financial energy. And we want professional results, but with recreational effort.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for sharing about your program. And Daniel, what is Rush Soccer Club and how does it work?
Well, Rush Soccer is actually headquartered in Colorado in the United States. And then we have this branch in Belize, which we work with. We haven't really worked because football was not allowed for 2 years. Contact sports was not allowed, so we weren't doing. But we do work with young kids. And for me, like Polo had said, it is a vehicle to teach them other things about life and life skills. We work with younger kids all the way up to older kids, and that's what we do, using football as a vehicle to reach some of these kids who really come from the worst parts of the city and the country.
The mantra with these programs that you two have made very clear tonight is that it isn't just about the sports. The sports is just a medium. The idea is to be able to propel these kids forward and make them better equipped for society, for the future.
Take them through adolescence.
Yeah,
Well,
and have them grow in both mentally, mentally, intellectually, and physically.
Physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Correct. And spiritually.
See, a lot of these kids, they're single parents, and when they're going through adolescence, like early teens, because right now the gangs won't bother them, and they won't have any influence. It's just like when you're 9, 10, you're not thinking about girls. It's the same way, you're not into the gangster, but once you become 14, 15, then you become macho, and it's a whole different flow of energy, and you get girls now, and you think you know everything. And so this is where peer pressure, it's peer pressure versus parental guidance.
Like
and a lot of these kids, especially on the south side, that father figure is not there for various reasons, whether the father is in jail or the father is not working, he can't even get a job to feed himself or the kid. You know what I'm saying? He might have been caught up in the bad things about his environment. So this is where we need a national program for that.
Wow.
We need a national program for...
What Polo is saying is so true. And I want to stress that although the program is not only about football, we never stop looking for doors to open for some of our young, talented players, to give them that opportunity that Polo had, that Devin had, that others have. Always looking for that opportunity. The issue is, let me just touch on another thing that he mentioned about gangs. And I'm sure he has the same thing. that we have players that cannot even, we have to pick them up because they cannot reach the stadium without passing through certain areas that they might be attacked or shot or killed.
After
or
that, I
whatever.
just don't go and drop off a
Right.
bunch
And
of
that's
them.
the
Pick them up
reality.
and drop them off every day.
That is the reality of what we deal with, and
deep.
sometimes our teams are chosen, and let's say the teams are mainly chosen from the south side, let's say from Yabra area, and they might want a talented player, let's say, but that player is from through the jungle. See,
A different
can't play on that team because the leaders of that team would say, no, he can't play on my team, and it's a dynamic which is sad, really, that we as a Belize City team really can't be at their full strength because of all the gang warfare.
Some differences and everything towards one another.
Major differences. And I have had many, not many, but enough of my people have gotten killed or shot for years.
Now my team, right, have guys from 5 different gang neighborhoods.
Wow.
And I'm not having any problem. Because what happened is that, like I say, it's not there before adolescents. So I have them from like standard 5.
From before?
Before, and I could teach them, prepare them. For example, I tell them that, you know, it's just, I tell them that once they start going through adolescence, they got to pay attention to the 4 Gs. I tell them because life is about eating, sleeping, and exercising in balance, and anything in life that takes away that discipline, you get rid of it.
Well, from just what you two have shared with me so far, it sounds like both your programs aren't without their challenges. It sounds like you honestly have your hands full. And with that, if I can ask, with the financing, like how do you finance these programs?
Oh.
if I can ask.
Well, myself, because I'm sure he does the same thing, because we're reasonably known, and when we go and ask, we get some limited help. Some of it we have to help ourselves. And myself, because Rush and other international agencies, we are able to access some donations from abroad, usually in the form of second-hand equipment. You know, the most popular thing for, the most important thing for a kid is the cleats, the football boots and balls, and that is what we're always begging all over the place to give us balls, because here we cannot get enough the boots or the balls for
and those are a constant, right? Like
that is
those
constant,
don't last
because
long at all.
no, and we try to make them last a little bit longer by maybe taking them to the guy to sew the soles on before we give it to them, because in this heat and this humidity, the soles are always falling apart, and so we try to make it last a bit longer. But the kids, and that's one of the frustration also, the kids that have the least are the ones who take care of their equipment the least also. I don't know if it's almost like they're trying to destroy it as quick as possible so that they can come back for another one, but
that's counterproductive though, right?
It is very, very hard, and we try to work with them to have the equipment last as long. Boots are the most expensive things for a footballer, and that's the thing that they use the most, and so we constantly have to be begging around and trying to get boots for them, and because when the kids come out, they don't even have tennis on. Most of them have on, they're just bare feet. And I don't
slippers.
know. And I don't know if Polo has the same, but even basic things which you and I take for granted, we have learned through the time. Like we have games on Saturday morning, let's say, and the games start at 9 o'clock. And so we meet at say 7:30, 8. I always try to take out some meat pies and stuff for them, because the kids do not even have breakfast in the morning, and you expect them to play, you know. And so afterwards, we also have to try to get something in their stomach, because it's basic things like this which the kids need help with.
Okay. I hear a man make comment like this: "Boy, I play better when I'm hungry." But I think that like that early morning game, you know, when you get up early in the morning and work out, you get a good workout, right? So I guess that probably that to be referred to. But I have like my thing is that I was fortunate that most of my support comes from the diaspora, the people who are like Polo Lightburn fans, or my friends, or some of the basketball players I played with and against. Um, and they send like the tennis shoes and stuff like that. But I would say 75% of it is my own energy, whether financially, physically. Okay, because the only time I really ask for donation, because I'm not tied up into any organization, I'm not a registered company, because I want to do it like that. I wanted to see, it's like almost like a scientific experiment, to see if it's possible to get this done by a community effort and with the minimal outside. You know, I didn't want to, because I found out in the past, like when you go to a lot of funds. For example, I went to one guy for some fun one time, and he wanted me to commit to voting for one of his relatives in an election. And that,
there's always the trade-offs, right?
That's just not me.
Yeah.
If that was me, I would have been a politician. Decades ago, I would have been a minister, whatever, because I've had politicians come for me over at least a half a dozen times, but you know, we all can't be politicians. That my destiny is different.
So you really, like, you gave more than your, like.
Well, yes, I take the kids. I actually turned my house into an academy. I got the gym in my garage. I got a rim in my yard. I carry the kids over there for put on weight. So now I got them on 6-week programs. Right? Because I had to prepare them for college, because it's not as much as to reach as far as Devin to play professional basketball, but at least to get an athletic scholarship, because one scholarship is like $500,000.
Yeah.
All right? And we have the talent, but we don't have the opportunity. For right now, and in this time within the last 5 years, we call these guys, they're like 04, 05, 06. Those are the years they were born. All right? And in that, I've been working with them for about 5 years, since standard 5, and out of that, out of maybe about 20 kids, 2,000 kids, I got like 10 of them that are going to get a letter scholarship. Half of them are already there.
Wow.
We have DJ Langsford. Mm-hmm. He left here when he was 14 years old. He's 15 now. He is playing for St. Matthias, Pius X, a Catholic school in California. Mm-hmm. And he's all-league. His team is undefeated right now. They're in the 4th round.
That's great.
And they have him as a freshman. And his last semester when he left here, he was a 4.0 student. And wow. I worked with him. I coached him 1 year at SJC. He was on the SJC team, and he was young and green then. And now where he has gone to, he's on his way. He's signed up with a.
Tell him the size of that young boy.
Huh?
Tell him the size.
Yeah, right now he's 6'9", 230 pounds, and he just turned 15 in December.
6'9", 230.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be Belize's first 7-foot out there. Yeah,
he'll be a 7-footer.
Yeah, he's definitely. I predict he's going to be about 7'2", 250. And he has we have never had a Belizean leave Belize and play high school basketball, much less as a freshman and being this dominant. He has statistics like 20 points, 20 rebounds, 4 block shots in one game.
Wow.
All right, and he's going to be I predict he's going to be an academic All-American. And then we have another kid.
I'm sure everybody who watch the roof,
Oh yeah, and then we have another kid, Ncaa Mendes, who is going to school in Georgia at a boarding school called Rayburn Ridge, and he's a sophomore. He was the first one to go, and just to put it this way, to go that school. I don't want to say the figure, but the average student out there pays over $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
A year to go to school, and you have kids that play for from the Lithuanian national team, mm-hmm. And they predict that in his graduation class he's going to be one of the top 60+ players.
Wow, well we definitely wish him.
And so both these kids are going to end up being getting Division I scholarships. And for example, we have never had anybody leave from Belize. Mm-hmm. And get a Division I scholarship. The only person we have had come close was Kirk Shabba Smith. Mm-hmm. He played 2 years at junior college, and he ended up at Weber State playing Division I. Okay. But we have never had anybody just leave. And these kids are already getting invitation and getting scouts from Division 1 schools. And they're courting them already. And like this one kid, he already signed, he's playing with the Under Armour Summer League team.
Wow. Wow.
There he is. And on a picture, he's just 14.
Wow. We definitely.
At 14, he was wearing a size 16.
My gosh.
Yeah, he not born, he not giant. And the thing is, unlike most big people, either big and fat or tall and skinny, he's just a giant. He's a normal built person, athletic, but he's just a giant.
Got the size, yeah.
All right, and that's what he got good for him. See, look at him. He don't look, he don't look big and fat. He don't look long and might look like just, if you see him by himself, you think he's a normal built person.
I know earlier when I'm asking with the financing and everything, I'm getting to some of the stuff when I'm going to talk about how different these athletes, these youths, their lives are from other people when it comes to the basic needs and stuff like that. I know that you touched base on some of the challenges that they face within the program. You two, as directors of your own programs, what are the challenges that you face? We can start with you, Daniel.
Well, I think I touched on it already, that if it's you don't have that personal involvement, that the business community, I think, for the most part, has to have a social conscience also. But I can understand their frustration because I'm a businessman also, that we have been disappointed to being politically correct through the years by the different leaders in all the different disciplines. And so the business community, the Belize public, the players have lost confidence in a lot of these leaders of the different federations and stuff. And so for us, it has become harder over the years to even have them even talk to us, because they feel like that money is being stolen and it's not going to the kids. Devin mentioned something earlier, and I think Polo hit on it also. These 2 kids or these 3 kids that are out there, 6 kids I think it might be.
Yeah, there's another kid.
One of the things, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not prepared to work hard and have that discipline to work hard every day and have the academics, you will not go far. And that is the problem. We have really super talented athletes in Belize.
They don't have the mental discipline.
Right. And what happens is we only have the kids in for a couple of hours a day.
And then they go back to
we
that
have to release them to that environment.
Yep,
and that environment is the poison.
Yep.
We need to start at a very young age with the kids. And when we identify that talent, we need to nurture it to the best we can. But the reality is,
that's not just you two. That's
that's
anyone
at
the country.
We need to be a national program in every sport at every level.
We're talking the entire country. Those kids that are identified with super talented need to be truthfully taken out of Belize as soon as possible at the youngest age.
Need to go to a special school, sort of.
They can fulfill their full potential.
And with how you say that, like you two would only have them for like a couple or a few hours out of the day. Are there families and communities supportive of the program? Are these athletes' families and communities supportive of your programs?
Listen, most of these kids come from single parent family, like he said. And so the kid, because sometimes you have 2, 3 brothers working at you, that mother has like 7, 8 kids. And so for that 2 hours, she has a babysitter for her 2 or 3 kids for 4 or 5 hours, whatever that you're training for. So you go to the games and it's sad. We have some games sometimes where we have 20 kids playing and not one parent is there to support the kids. We are the only adults there, along with the coaches who are there to support the kids.
I feel like that's a big
mental
punch, right?
No, listen, it's not.
That's the reality.
I want to make this clear. It's not in all sports, okay? And this is very, very important to the conversation. And for example, let me give a solution. We are lucky, like for example, with the age of the internet and the discipline I put my kids into. you could have like chat pages and we communicate. I call them. I built more than a team, like a family. Okay, for example, like when one team want meet with us, I said like 1, 2, 3 future shock. We not do that. The all is in all, and all is in the all. One for all, and all for one. Future shock. So because I believe the most powerful thing is a thought. Now, football and volleyball, table tennis, not have this problem. What we have with them kids, what we have in football and basketball. Because the reality of it, the two different subcultures. The kids in football and basketball, the kids we refer to as from the south side. They come out at the environment when you talk about. Right? Single parents, with maybe two, three set of kids for 2 different men. And I guarantee you, 80% of the parents in the neighborhood there, the male especially, do time in a jail. So now for some stupid thing. All right, I know all of them not that for murder and stuff, but just because of how the environment they stand.
Circumstances.
And you find that them kids there, like I said, they have to walk away part and go, you hear what you say? You have to go pick them up. No, the kids there where they play volleyball and table tennis, for them parents drop them off in our vehicle and pick them up in our vehicle. And this is a reality. So what we need to do, they kids in football and basketball, we need to subsidize them, for bring up their level. They not the level of the support of everything. Because they, like I said, because their kids when they have we need, like I said, we need to create one system. We want to create artificial parents for their kids in football and basketball and for make it work. Because when I see in volleyball and basketball, way beyond sports, I say structured kids where they come from, structured home. You could see the love, the attention, their parents are there. And on the south side, a lot of them parents not show. Sometimes, that's not because they don't have the interest, but because they don't want hand-to-mouth situation. They might can't even afford, if you go to that venue there, because they have to get you on tax here, so no money there, that don't put on for something else where they happen.
So my God, ask this.
Maybe for put on a pot.
We have a very young population, which is a perfect match for strong sporting programs, right? Why are we still lagging behind without sustainable programs, structure, facilities, and funding? Is it that the decision makers don't see the importance and value of sports and athletics, or is it something else?
Robin, because I noticed we run out of time and we not even get into the...
Then I always surface level topics.
And so I will go straight to, are we failing our athletes, which is the name of this program.
Hit me with the one word.
Right. And you started the conversation. We need to have any success in sport, it has to be a three-way partnership. It has to be the private sector, the government, and the sporting organization.
It's a joint effort. Right?
It has to be a joint effort. And of all of them, honestly, in my opinion, the government has the biggest role to play. Because I saw recently Minister Rodwell Ferguson, who is the new Minister of Sports, went to El Salvador with the national A-team female team. And we played our home game in El Salvador. All right, so we're at a disadvantage as it is. The little girls are going
before the first whistle blow.
Right, play a home game elsewhere?
Because we have leaders who, for whatever reason, did not have the things in place. I don't know, I've heard that it was some insurance that was supposed to be played on the stadium. Regardless, the fact remains that we played our home game there and we lost 8-0.
Wow.
And a couple of days before that, we lost 6-0 to El Salvador. I'm happy that the minister was there to see it.
But he never looked happy though.
Right. He has written that it has to be a partnership with the people, that he will lobby his government, that he will lobby this.
So the good thing he was there, it was a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
It was a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
So for me, that is a good step forward.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of organizations who have what I will say, have leaders there who are maybe not duly elected because they are not following their own statutes, but the only organization in the country that oversees each individual organization and ensure that they're following the statutes is the National Sports Council, which is the government of Belize through the Sports Council Act. If the government has the will, they can ensure that these organizations are following their statutes and have people who are duly elected, because how can we regress so far, so fast? 40 years ago, we were holding our own against any country in this region. Yes, we are a small country, 400,000 people, but we should be able to hold our own. We have taken out youth teams from U10 to U15, U17 in both basketball and football. And Belize can hold its own against any of the regional teams here in Mexico, in Guatemala, in El Salvador, in youth. But when they reach a certain level, there is no continuity. And it has to be a partnership where there has to be continuity. For football, for instance, we have U15, U17. And if the player is talented enough, they will jump him straight up to the first division where he'll be playing with adults. And then a player will get hurt very quickly when you have a player who is not fully developed. His muscles and everything else is not fully developed. He will go in a tackle 50-50 with an adult, and he will wreck his knee. And we don't have any sports science in Belize. So a player, an athlete in Belize has a minor injury, which it would be minor in the United States or in England or developed countries. But here in Belize, that's a career ending in...
because we don't have the ability to treat the people.
But there are nearby places where there has to be a partnership where you would maybe pay some insurance with the government and the federation so that these players... maybe you can take them to Guatemala City, which has state-of-the-art. They can have arthroscopic surgery on their knee or wherever they get damaged, and you can try to help players in that regard.
Well, while on the subject of, to touch on what you said just now about like underdeveloped muscles or stuff like that, depending on their age and everything, do you feel that we should be offering more sports within the primary school level, despite that? Like
it's not more sports, you know, but the sports at the primary school levels need to be more organized. The problem with these sports, especially at the primary school level, is it's just that teachers will like the sport they deal with the kids, and they need recognition and energy. They're not for develop, and that's why we have several certified coaches in the country in basketball who need to be paid just like any other school teacher for have clinics for. We should all in primary school coaches right now, they need to have some 2-3 weeks clinic with all of them and come in and make them guys like Roscoe Reese, Puppy Brown, Puppy Leslie, Rupert Brown, Bradsdale, and Jamie Wagner come in and train, and these are guys who are certified, who have been doing camps for over a decade.
So along with the organization, what are your thoughts on the facilities? Do you feel that these kids have adequate enough facilities to be able to run these? Or even if we do they have access to these facilities? I touch it, Cho.
Touch it, you hit. All right, now this is a whipper with it now. I am, all right, Future Shock, the third generation. After the second generation, I had stepped away because I thought everything was under control. Until when I see my grandson gonna play with a team in our Cadero, I'm like one Central America champion and champions of primary school. And I got into the practice, and we have a basketball court, the female team, they practiced at one room. I rather stayed on pan cement outside pan one tar court. And then the male team, they practice on the other half of the court, while the other countries that we're going to play against, they in one gym with 3 basketball court. The girls ain't got their own court where they practice pan. The boys ain't got their own court where they practice pan.
They have whole courts, Joe.
Whole court. Indoor. Yeah, condition with the outside now, so not pan cement. And in the evening they work out that the boys scrimmage against the girls. When we get that car, and then I believe that the whole team, you know. When I get that car, you know, that me had to go and find out the rules and go and tell the coaches. The coaches ain't got the team in the practice zone when the tournament, that one man to man, the zone illegal, we find that out. I gonna find out before the first game, I'm gonna tell the team. And one of the young boys there, you see, one of the youths there, half of the team, when they talk to us, that he remind me of that. And that's how I became involved. Because the coach, all about the kids and just bury down, and carry that. Kind of basketball, when you catch the ball, everybody do so. If you watch and see everybody, I said go on the right hand side. And the reality is when you get the ball, you could go right, you could go left, you could pass, you could back her up, just like in a football. Right? And all the kids then do that. So that's why I get involved, and this is standard 5, and I decided, I say I'm going through it until they finish high school. Because I work with them. When they're 18, they need to move on now. So I create that when I finish high school, that either you're going on to college or you're going to get a job. Then my job is over. Then you can make your own decision.
I want to say something about facilities.
We can finish this facility thing. So now, my situation is that after we won, I got involved with the kids. We got won the first tournament in Yucatan. We come back, the Sports Council, had big press conference, and they tell me the Mexican Jones, the Mexican Center, the Mario Jones Stadium, will be the home of Future Shock. All right, big press conference. Well, recently, this is our part of Future Shock there today. We only could practice 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, because we used to practice sometimes two times for the day. We used to practice Monday to Friday, but now, because of funding, finance, we only could practice 2 days a week. And we have to practice by what they call dead time. Okay? Because that's $75 an hour, you have to pay for rent the Mexican Center. That is $150 a day. If you go for 5 days, that's $750. If you go for a month, that's $3,000. If you work out 10 months out of the other, $30,000 for just practice. And then I live that boom. I have to put in gas. Then when you come in, kids, you know, you need to buy snacks, just like yourself, because you know. And that's what they tell me. And so I remember when I first called, because then they said that the Mexicans say me and be a multi-purpose court. Half a volleyball, half a basketball. You're supposed to be having 6 rims. You have 4 hoops, you go in the 2 courts with 4 hoops. So when I try to get the court the first time, they tell me we have to wait because they have put up a curtain for divide the half of volleyball and basketball. It really don't make no sense to me, but I said no problem. So while I wait, I go on there and when I look, on the half was supposed to be basketball, I say 5 ping pong table. So I asked, where they going? They say, well, on ping pong tournament, international ping pong tournament take place. I said, okay, no problem. But now that 8 months later, the ping pong table is still there. And we have to practice with volleyball when we in the afternoon for volleyball time. I say, make a teacher and the secret to come in for dead time. Dead time that you have some kids come in and play volleyball 3 to 5. All right? 3 to like about 4:30, quarter to 5. Then the parents come for them, and then you have one set to come in about 5:30, so they want to have one quorum. So what we do, while ping pong they play over here, with 2 basketball rim over the top. Volleyball they play over here with 2 basketball rim. We didn't have a space, about 8 feet space there, and I got my kids the dribble. And imagine that one rim, when you get 15 feet, imagine that one rim the front and you get only head fake like you shoot and go.
One rim in front of you.
And we got
that one rim. Wow.
So that's what it is, right? And I have to laugh, right? And what we do now, the volleyball, when they take down the rim, take down the volleyball net, then we go up on the court and run that rim over there, and I just make my team shoot. Till then, guys over here, we rent the court for the $75 an hour. This is some old man now show up with 2 new balls. And they come in there and play over here. Right? And when they're done and they're ready for play 5, so then we get in at least 45 minutes of shooting. And when they're ready for play the full court, then we come off. All right, today we get in a nice day 1.5. We come off and then maybe they're going to do some running in between the 2 courts. All right, and we right now only there on 2 days a week. So I also have to tell them kids you're half days and just run. Or go play ball with your friends or whatever, just try to stay sharp.
Yeah.
Any other country, then kids are there with the talent. Because we look for, this are the nucleus for we under 17 team, you know. This are the future, my look into the future, that for student kids will be Belize's first Olympic team. Because now, when you look when we got kids, they in from first, second year of high school, we never did had before. So, and because I want to move on after this and start to work on the future. Left this program, you know, in a place over there, but boy, that one struggle. I don't know why, but and this they go on for like 4 decades, you know.
Wow.
We had this experience at a Civic.
Daniel, you must have told them you have something you want to add
well,
to the subject of facilities?
Well, the facilities are always a problem, but even little spots all over the city. And one of them will really get to me is looking at the playground, the Holy Redeemer playground on North Front Street, which was one of the few little spots in the city where the kids they could make a kickball. But they turn it into a parking lot. You know, they take away the limited recreational area. You know, and those things are partnership which can be done through the Football Federation, which is representative of FIFA in Belize. They can partner with the government of Belize and other private sector. It's, you know, take a lot of money. You could turn the Berger field, the Yabra field. Those can be turned easily into AstroTurf fields, enclosed and thing where you could have maybe one field which is maybe 2/3 the normal size of a field, and the kids can play in that. They could have the lights on and thing. It has to be a partnership between the government, the private sector, and the leaders of each organization. But those organizations have to be represented, represent the choice of the people who play football. Listen to me. We have in Belize district, for instance, maybe about 50 teams that play with different levels, maybe more. And when they have election time, they only have 6 or 10 teams who are not even playing. The last time they registered was maybe 10, 15 years ago. But those are the ones who the people in charge put to vote when election time, and they do not represent the people playing football. And that happens in every district. But that can only be enforced by the National Sports Council.
That is the job of the National Sports Council. Incidentally, I was the first National Sports Director. So, and ex officio, and that was, the National Sports Council was created originally to regulate these bodies and to make sure that they were active and energetic and we were getting results. Okay, well, to keep them in check, because throughout history I've always had this going on with sports councils and different organizations.
So with the circumstances of the government and all of that you two have addressed, what role the general public play in all this? What role the general public play? What role the families play, if any impactful role?
You live in Belize long enough to know Belizeans, for the most part, love criticize. But when the time comes for them to support the sport, they are not there. Even as fans, you know, we had fans 20 years ago, 5,000 people in the stadium at MCC on a Sunday. Now you're lucky if you get 50 people in the stadium.
What you gotta realize, Daniel?
Well, wait, TV has come and changed everything.
Part of the information is that you have access not only to TV, the internet. There's so much different stuff.
So with that change, they still have.
We're having a hard time really because we spend so much time infighting, and the kids have so much other options, and so. We have the next generation that for me, from what I can see, we have less and less youths, the young kids, playing sports because they're caught up playing the electronic games. And so...
Like the technological
wave. And COVID made it worse.
But we also have to give the kids them some incentive to want to play. The kids know if they play in Belize, now, at the time in the past, we used to have 5,000 people, so they were the star in the city, and they used to get all the girls and everything. We don't even have that because nobody goes to the stadium, so the kids have nothing to play for. They don't have anything to gain from it, so there's less incentive. We need to incentivize these things to bring those kids back out, to get involved in physical activity, to show them that if they work hard and think that they can have scholarships like the young man.
And that's going to come in. That's where I'm going to answer your next question, because the next question is, what would I do if I was the Minister of Sports? Right? Are we there yet?
Right now, I will. But with the mention of incentive, is there a way that we could incentivize the private sector to be able to make this?
Yes. there is some limited, but the truth is the private sector has to have a social conscience. But it happens that some years ago, the tax structure was changed. And so they used to have the
tax exemption?
Right. The companies used to sponsor, and then you could have claimed back some portion of that at the end of the year as almost like you claim a dependent. But that was changed now that you get no kind of refund on any sponsorship. So if you see any company or any individual sponsor, it's because they're doing out the goodness of their heart and they're just throwing money down a drain.
And I'm telling you this, Boeing, I must say this, Boeing has been doing this from then until now. They are still doing it, and they are the best sponsors and supporters of sports I've ever met. If all the rest of the business institution would take the initiative like Boeing and Santino, then the guys who love sports, Tony Habet, because I've been involved with these guys. Then guys, they want to give.
They actually see
but
the
even
potential.
they have, for the most part, withdrawn.
They have withdrawn because of the politics of sports, which has nothing to do with the athletes as much as with the people upstairs.
I find that so ridiculous that politics dig so deep into something like sports when it shouldn't be about politics.
Let me give you an example.
Everything in Belize is politics.
Yeah.
I could give you. I know at least 3 of the last 4 or 5 basketball presidents who it was a stepping stone for them. One became a powerful minister, even the leader of his party. Another one became a mayor. Another one an area representative. And right now, basketball, the organization is in transition because from what I understand, a meeting which should have been held from a year ago to change to have a new election, and they have never had one, and so right now we're in limbo. For example, we were supposed to be represented at the U17 FIFA tournament to get ready for Central America, to get ready to build up your U17 team, which was going to be your young Olympic team. But then, for whatever reason, it didn't happen.
It comes right back to what I'm saying. The Sports Council must enforce that the statutes are followed for each organization. If an election was to be held last year, then it should have been held with the people there that are representative of the players and whatever else. But the election should have been held.
Well,
and that falls under the responsibility for the National Sports Council.
Okay. Well, now I'll ask the question. Right? If you were the Minister of Sports and had 5 years to put a sports plan in place, what would you do and what would be your priority? We could start with you, Daniel.
Let me talk about football. If I was the minister, I would make sure that the Sports Council enforced the Sports Council Act, ensuring that there are proper elections in every organization. And I know that some ministers, because they might have, like what he said, some of the leaders in these organizations, maybe in the districts and stuff, might be elected officials in those. So you don't want to really upset or mash your can, but if they're serious about it, it has to be done. And there's always a threat from the FFB and FIFA, or that if you fool with us, according to FIFA statutes, which is right, that if there's government interference, then we'll be suspended from FIFA. But the truth is, what difference does it make to us? We are already, for the most part, suspended from FIFA. We travel and we take 6, we take 8, we take 6, whatever. I say, if we have to clean house, let's clean house, get suspended for 2-3 years, reapply back again with some good people there, and let's try to start to build from the ground
about like a
up.
3-year refresh?
Right. So, but they have to have the will to try to get it done, because you have to have the strong fortitude, because you will have national and international pressure to stand back. But the truth is, that's the only way that it can be cleaned up, and you can start to gain back the confidence of the Belizean public and of the athletes who are involved in that particular discipline.
Okay.
Well, Like I said, I'm a person that believes in the future. And I focus more on development. All right? And the problem we're having is that the Westminster system was designed by kings and queens to control slaves and colonies. It wasn't designed to develop. It was designed to extract. If you look at the man on the $5 bill, all right? Thomas Potts, they owned at the time, he was the first king of the Baymen, and they owned 4/5 of the country. Okay, so my thing is that, first of all, we need to change our thought process, because those guys, they weren't into sports to see when they came here, they saw the guys who are the athletes today. They saw them as slaves as a workforce. Okay, so my thing is that we should have, like we have 30 divisions. Each division should have an athletic program where the minister is involved. He's going to be a liaison between the neighborhood and cabinet or the government to make sure that the program get the resources. We have each division in every age group, in every sport, play each other. Okay? Out of these teams, just like how you have maybe 4 different divisions in a FIBA, one tournament, out of each division, take the winning teams, they want to advance. For example, Ncaa play against Southside, Mesa. The teams then you have north side and south side. Because on both sides you got hoods and you got, organized schools. So, and the teams then will move up. But as you move up, you'll be rewarded. For example, just to make the team, just to make your neighborhood team, you can get uniform, you can get tennis shoes, then you have bus and pick them up and carry them to each other's venue. And then bus will have one driver, whether one probably slash driver, policeman, somebody who know about sports, we go study for that. You want wear the same uniform like your team, so you want to be one of them. As opposed to when they see the police now, as the police and just come in the military fatigue and everybody get intimidated, right? So that if an issue there between the teams there, that person can be the mediator. And you feel secure because you don't know, because the reality of it is the gangsters, they're not going out, they don't attack the police nor the lawyers. So they have that respect. But as you move up, you get rewarded. All right, and after that, now you got one national team champion, and you're bringing the districts to eventually. And then out of that, you pick, for example, your Belize City team, and you pick, because you deal with not only sports but also youth development. And as you move up, you say, for example, you catch the team for your neighborhood. Like I say, you get rewarded. You catch the Belize City team, you can get 2 pair of tennis, you can get your own bar. So when you're in your neighborhood, you spend, maybe the kids, even you carry home, maybe, you can in your neighborhood, you can go to your neighborhood grocery and maybe get one check for, go and pick up $100 worth of grocery, because we tend to put money, especially politicians, put money in some parents' hand, where the money go buy bad man, or go put in hairstyle. So you want to empower the youth so that you got one 15-year-old now, they bring home something based on, you're empowered, you're getting one better self-esteem. Yeah. You understand? Because I miss out on the kids, the policeman come and beat you up and say, no, come out, you not going to know if you go, and the other kids went up to get scholarship. Okay, so at the same time, with the diffuse the gang mentality, the kids then is socially interacted, then become heroes. And for example, the news, every day people sit down and watch the news and say, they wait for see who killed who. If nobody not there, the news never had today. So what I want to do? Every day that one the news finish. For example, right now we have this Ahmadiyya tournament they go on. You don't want the news finish every day, whereby you show the kids their statistics, their accomplishment. Like the kids where they out there on their scholarship, nobody never interview me about them. We don't have no stories for them. So you interview the parents and show their kids. Like when all the games are in the stream, we should have show like right after the news, just show them game at the stream with their kids. So make the kids they want because the most powerful thing I thought, make them want to be there. To create one romance from a young age, and when you come back, we empower them, create one alumni situation, turn them into coaches, pay them, spend money.
So the media have a role to play also.
Big role, role.
And so...
Especially guys like that. You don't believe how popular one that get for start to just show them games. Because not only basketball, you have volleyball too. You have kids out there, they play volleyball, we get scholarships, that something like that, you know? Like even just the Macaulay out there, play, show the games there. Make we get that. You know, make we start to pay attention to each other and create that situation. You say, what? Boy, you on the on TV, because that mean you could get there. Because everybody want to be on star. If you watch on TV, everybody like Queen and King and, you know, everybody want to be on star.
Let me just say something here. Because although I'm harsh on the leaders, I have offered my help without any conditions to 3 or 4 previous presidents, and not one of them in football has accepted my offer. Maybe because I'm too outspoken and thing, but again, I say to any one of them, you know, I offer my assistance and to the Minister of Sports in any way I could help. You understand? Polo,
so have I.
Polo,
I have the
and
same problem.
he can help. He mentioned the names of four them basketball. These guys run their camp. Maybe we need to revisit and think how we do this thing. Maybe it should be one partnership with the. We have already these guys running their camps. Run the programs or the government through them, you know. Through them,
they have the knowledge.
There's no need, you know, we have qualified people there, and so maybe it has. We have to rethink how we do things, you know, rather than have like the teachers, like what you said. Because sometimes those things are just run, those school tournaments, just to say that they have a tournament. Sometimes their kids only play one game or 2 games and they don't be in a finals because they just for say they do football this year. But they're not really doing any football, really, you know. So we need to rethink how we do things. We need to be radical in how we change things. I don't have all the answers and things, but I'm sure that if we get together with the people who are involved with it, we can come up with different things to make a difference, really. And because once we not do it and we continue to do what we're doing, we're failing the kids, we're failing their potential, we're failing the country, because sports can boost the entire morale of a country. And that's what different governments have not taken at full advantage. With that, both sides, we have to take advantage of the potential for sports uniting the country and boosting the morale of the country. Look how excited we were. Was it 98 when we won the CARICOM championship and stuff?
In basketball?
In basketball. That's just one thing, but the point is that sports can unite our people.
It can do
the same way how we spend so much time in the choir right now, it can also help to unite us.
Yes, because everybody was at that, and I need to elaborate on that CARICOM, because that's an example of what we're talking about. I was at the age of 24, I was the coach of the Belize national team, player coach, until I was 40. And when I was 40, they can get me reluctantly. Because if you don't have a hippie prayer, Keviva, you know, really, you know, you don't even have to have the quality, you just have to. The reality of it, you have to deal with the specific political parties for because they have some quarrel going, they have nothing to do with the sport. But anyway, after nobody ever want to take the job, they come and get me for going to coach the team in the Central American Games, 95. This is November before the 4 months later for the CARICOM Games. What happened, they used to invite, we are the only team in the world where they used to invite in 2 regions, CARICOM and Central America. Reality, you only could play in one, right? But because we don't made the whipping boy, I used to invite people to either play against the defending champion or the home team. Because we don't make sure win. After the first night, whoever play with tie with somebody for first place, and we tied at last. And I noticed this, right? What I noticed for 1973 when I got to Santo Domingo is that the better players, they had an American accent. So then I realized the way to get better, you have to go play college ball at the States. This is in reality. This is over 4 decades ago. And they tell me if we not come back without a female program, I said, over 4 decades ago, and we still don't have a female program.
Wow.
All right? So I tell them, after we go there and we come in second to last, the Honduras. And this is because we have practice, and sometimes only 3-4 man show up, man come in, they drag their slippers, sit down, look wrong. Some days after end up the workout with the team, getting some lead boy will come in, come play ball that evening because we don't have enough players. So I tell Clyde Young at the time when I was secretary of basketball, because Jan Saldiva was president at the time. All right, that better we squash this trip to Central America. And they said, no, we have to go because if we not go, then I make a host CARICOM. So I tell them, okay, no. They say, but they say, no, what, you want to make your coach CARICOM again? I say, I don't want to coach CARICOM. Because the problem there above my head, I want to be the manager. You know, send me that war with them to go again. And I saw when we come back from Honduras, I decided for bringing in the foreign Belizean American, Milton Palacio, Kakimo, Olin Simplice. I spoke to all of their parents and put the team together, and then we had Fred Garcia and Kirk Smith, the Belizean twin tour. And I bring together and put the chemistry and bring all the pieces we needed together, and we end up with CARICOM gold.
That's amazing, huh?
But
I just did micro. We could run the whole country like that.
To organize. Recently, we girls come in second in volleyball regionally and stuff. And the electricity in the Civic, if you were not there, it was something to behold. And I mean, it's all, and we as our leaders need to take advantage
of
of
the potential
that.
to engage the country.
You know,
And this is the micro. 2 decades ago, volleyball was nothing. This is an unknown national effort. This is basically the efforts of Lupita Kwan. Just like what he did with free football program, I do with basketball. That woman has been doing with volleyball. Enough respect to she.
Wow.
But fortunately for she have the finance. She come from she have the business. So I wish I had that. All right, if I had that, I could have made
the things you would do, Joe.
But what I must say is what I want to talk about a program we have coming up in early November, 11, 13th, and 14th.
We could close off right
me and Nigel Miguel, I guess who you're familiar, he's former film commissioner and McDonald's All-American actor, and he's a member of Hollywood Actors Guild and NBA club. And what we are doing this year, we have a foundation called Belize Forever, which during the same time we used to bring NBA players here. As a matter of fact, we were the only team, we had a preseason game for CARICOM where the Belize national team played against some NBA players and college players, which prepared us for the tournament. And this was since '95. So today what we are doing, mid-March, I think it's like around the 15th of March, we're having a press conference. We are doing a Belize Invitational basketball tournament that's going to be hosted by Gary Payton, who is a NBA Hall of Famer. They call him the Gloves. Who knows him? He's big time. He is the coach at Lincoln University. It's going to be a full college tournament with Lincoln University. We are trying to get Howard, University of California, Santa Barbara, where Reggie Teos is the athletic director. And what we want to do, these guys, we're going to come in here, and this is going to be a part of their college record. This is another exhibition. This is one, just like how they have the Hawaiian Invitational, some different, the Alaska Invitational. This is going to be the Belize Invitational, hosted by Gary Payton, and it's going to be shown on ESPN Belize, ESPN. And this is it's supposed to be a 3-year contract, and we're going to be giving out scholarships, athletic, in basketball. We're looking for soccer players. Especially young, so if you have anybody, but like I said, they have to have the grades at least a 2.5 average.
That's a problem.
And also academic scholarships. Mm-hmm. All right, but that's not, like I said, my team has a 3.5 average across the board because I went to college and I knew that it was important to maintain at least a 2.5.
Yeah, most of these things, level. Especially when it comes to these scholarships, they go hand in hand with the education. And that's March 15th, right?
Yeah, we're going to have the press conference. We're going to do a press release.
Okay.
And then, but like I said, the tournament is going to be, I think, the 11th, 12th, and 13th of November.
Okay.
And it's also going to be good for tourism because they're going to be bringing their entourage, their schools with them.
You say this is a private initiative, but that should be a partnership between the government, the federation, the basketball federation.
Well, actually, I spoke to the minister about it, so he's going to be, we're going to see what kind of input we're going to get.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about, that for things to be happening here, a lot of times, it has to come from private, and it must be a partnership
I agree.
where you get the full support of all three parties.
I agree.
Last week Tuesday I got calls from in one day I got calls from 4 different college coaches looking for talent.
Wow.
So the thing we have always had a talent, it was
So
just
the interest is
it
there.
was just the opportunity. So now we have created the opportunity.
The interest is there also, but they trust him to bring the talent.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what happens. They bypass the federations and stuff, because a lot of the times the federations do not present the best talent available, but the talent that is either their family, their friends, politically connected, and so they do not really get the best talent. So the college coaches have confidence that he will bring good people to them.
Okay.
The same thing with
With
ourselves, that they know that the people we bring to them are the talent that we identify without fear or favor, as they say.
All right.
And these kids are opening up these doors. These kids that are in high school now, that are out there, they are opening up the doors for Belize, because now they realize that, wow, you know, these kids, they're not ordinary talents.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I believe Danielle, I'm the first one to say surface level, right? Surface level stuff.
Yeah.
We really and truly wish we had more time to be able to delve deeper into all of this, because the amount of just opinions and the amount of suggestions and advice that you guys have just waiting to come out.
You
to
see,
be able to offer.
we the wrong sports like for decades. When people say decades.
Then that one of the topics where I personally wish we could have on part 2 too, because I feel it very important, and like where two, I want to say, have the potential to propel the country, the entire country and its people forward, and actually putting us on the map. And we definitely have to keep this topic on the front burner. I congratulate both of you for doing what you have been doing with both Future Shack and Rush Soccer. We need more programs like these, but we also need for decision makers to wake up and see the potential in sports and what it means for the development of our youths. I want to thank you both for joining the conversation tonight, Polo and Danielle. And with that, viewers, our time is up for tonight, unfortunately. But please remember to join us on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for new episodes of The Conversation right here on CBTV and on Colorblind's Facebook page. We're hoping for part 2 with these topics, so please stick with us. And good night and take care, everyone.